right, guys, here we're going to talk about The Monster Hunter.
Living in this godforsaken place.
1999's The Monster Hunter, aka Natural Selection. Lee, had you seen this one before?
Of course not. Why would you ask me such a silly question?
This is one I, too, have not seen before.
Okay.
I saw this box at a thrift shop, and I was like, this looks awesome. You know, if I can just, shout out a couple things here. So, Evil Dead meets Natural Born Killers. That sounds like one of the best things that could ever exist. There's a quote from the great Quentin Tarantino that says, "Great." And I'm like, that's short and sweet.
Are there dots before and after where it says
no, it is exclaimed, but no. And then I look at it, I'm like, okay, we got David Carradine in what looks like an X-Files-ish role.
Yeah.
You know, the title being The Monster Hunter. David Carradine is. I'm like, that's pretty great. America's newest weapon against evil. I'm like, okay, does he have powers or something? This is going to be fantastic. It's got Stephen Root, who's pretty much great in everything. I think I've come to like him the most for King of the Hill, but he has so many roles that who could pick just one. So if you wouldn't mind reading the back of the box here.
Okay, let me. I can confirm everything that you've said so far. When two serial killers begin their reign of terror in the same small town, the FBI sends out their secret weapon against the supernatural, an agent who can see into the soul to the demon beneath. And there's a picture of a very toothy, very crinkly boy on the back here, and David Carradine with a shotgun.
Yeah, it looks like some cool alien thing or something on the back. I'm like, all right. I'm 100% on board. I think this looks great.
Yeah, I agree with the X-Files vibe on that one.
So we're going to talk about this in depth in the spoiler section. So if you've seen this or don't care, follow us over there. And if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, so here we are for the spoilers of The Monster Hunter, aka Natural Selection. And
I like this movie.
Pure evil.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, I hate this movie.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I was getting vibes like maybe you completely hate it. I think I probably like it for the same reasons that you hate it.
Get out of here. Jamie!
Well, it's not, the box is terrible.
Yes, no,
so the
box does not help.
The box, A, is a spoiler for something that doesn't happen until later on, like the secondary serial killer, which could have been a twist, but they blew that on the box like it was an 80s movie. So
that's very unfortunate. So I had not read the box before watching it. So from my perspective, I liked that twist.
I could see that.
Yeah.
The movie is, they lie in a bunch of ways, though. It's framed as he is sent by the FBI as this paranormal investigator type of a guy who can see the evil in people.
God told me who you are.
But really, he's like a crazy person.
All true, yeah.
And he's not sent by the FBI. He's there on his own time.
He's a rogue agent.
Yeah.
Well, I understand it wasn't an officially sanctioned investigation.
Agent DeHoven was a very unique individual.
So I'm like, did the person that made the box even see the movie?
No, it feels like this is a deep pull. But there was a James Bond movie, and I remember hearing a radio ad for it, and they said something like, "Oh, this guy uses this machine to change faces" or some crazy thing like that. And it was the James Bond movie where he done something to his face or his brains, the villain had to go into some sort of chamber, but that machine did not change his face. It was it was not that at all, and it was very strange. And I was like, this was written by someone, which I think is what happened here. Someone was just like, oh no, what do we do with this fucking movie? And they just tried to figure out how to trick you and sell the movie.
Well, I will say yes, because the director went on to do no other movies. The writer went on to write no other movies.
Sure.
I don't know how they even got the actors that they got, honestly.
Sure.
Because David Carradine, that's the only thing that's not a lie. He is in this movie for a good amount of time. He may not be the actual main character, but he is the Monster Hunter. That is what he is titled in the movie, so that is true.
The Great Monster Hunter?
That is correct.
They show the monster with a wanted sign as if it's actually real and wanted. So that's a huge fucking red flag for me. The reason I thought this looked good was because it's a comedy, thriller, horror movie. And while I can tell you they attempted comedy,
yes,
not once did I chuckle.
Y'all are in for a real treat.
At all.
I'm trying to think. Did I actually? So this movie's presented with a documentary framing device.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of interviews well after the fact.
A lot of fucking Canadian pennies, too. Can I say fucking?
And then it cuts to the movie of like maybe like a juxtaposition, like some guy will like describe events or like refuse to describe events, and then they will show you those events.
Yes.
Or they will talk about something and then they will show you that thing, right?
Yes.
It's this back and forth sort of thing.
It could work. For me, it does not.
Okay.
But it could.
I told him I had kids and that I was a good person, and he nodded and he turned around.
They went one step too far with how grainy and shitty they made footage. Okay. I thought that was a weird choice, especially when sometimes it's the like your name actors are the one, like you only have Stephen Root in bad footage.
What kind of circus don't got no monkeys, huh?
And that surprises me. It surprises me that he's even there. Like honestly, because I'm like he is a real actor.
He's just
David Carradine's a real actor.
Well, David Carradine's in in the movie part, but like Stephen Root's only in one of these interview cutaways.
Yeah.
Like not only one scene, they like cut to them multiple times, but it's
filmed in one location at one time.
It's still him with his wife who does nothing but cry on his shoulder as he explains. So someone died in our house, and now we gotta move all the monkey stuff away. Yeah, I'm having a Jack and Coke or something. It's fine. I need it. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how you feel.
I'm having a whiskey and Coke.
Okay.
Have to, Jesus.
You've got this therapist who is the cleavage filled daughter from that Seinfeld episode where it's like looking into the sun. You take a peek and look away. You don't stare at it.
Do you have a ketchup secret?
No. Don't have a ketchup secret.
Yeah, character actor, I forget his name.
Bob Balababa or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen him around. He's been in like movies and television all over the place. I was happy to see him too. Also shocked, because certain people are only in those interview segments.
I think if you're listening to this, really, I think it's possible you don't even know you killed anybody. They black out. They don't know what they're doing. Fuck it. Excuse me.
And they're not in the movie, right?
No, yeah.
So and it's some strange choices where it's something like
it's very strange.
They just gave them the little pitch and they had them do their thing, and then they insert that into the movie like it's a documentary. They probably just had a guy go there and film that guy on that couch.
It makes, like, I will imagine fully that a lot of it's like, well, why does that look so shitty? It's like, well, he only agreed to be out for like 2 minutes, and all I had was a cell phone from 1993. So I just recorded it, and I had to figure out how to get it into the movie. And I figured, I can make footage look worse, so the footage I already filmed for this part, I'll just make that look the same as this footage. Got it. And I don't know that that's true, but just based on, like, how things feel in this movie, I will not go any farther. This reminds me of a much worse version of a movie, Hunting Humans with 2 serial killers.
Hunting Humans. That sounds familiar.
It's better than this. I really despised this movie. It felt like such a slog, like such a slow, torturous thing that could have been good even with little slight changes. Like had you made it an out that oh no, they actually are demons, and maybe no one else knows, but there's one of those little things where it's like, wait a minute, if that happened, then this has to be about like something like that.
Yeah, like a stinger at the end of like something else.
Something.
Yeah, like I think it's a gem.
I believe that's in the Bible.
I think it's this thing, like the first time I watched it without taking any like notes and just like experiencing it, and I was sort of meh about the whole thing, and then I watched it a second time, and I really like some of the stuff that that they're doing here.
He kills simply to kill.
I can say
there's
it
bad
starts
parts
off
definitely, but
like it's always interesting to me when you have a combination of footage styles. So like when you start off, with like your maybe worser like actors, your non-name actors, I'll say, in a lower production value setting. It's a strange choice to not come at that hit, or if you're going to do that, to not come at it with like the best dialogue and things you have.
Does it start with the cousins hunting?
Starts
or
with
whatever?
the cousins, yeah.
What kind of movie you gonna make about Willie? It's not a movie. It's a documentary.
Well, what do you want us to say?
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, like a lot of it is bad, like either because it's supposed to be or because it's not supposed to be. The movie part and some of the interactions with those 2 serial killers, because again, going into it, I didn't know that there were 2 serial killers. Yeah! And I love that David Carradine turns out to not be a like actual demon hunter. He just like thinks he is.
I'm not a monster. You fight hell. You fight the demons. You fight monsters.
Well,
scenes
we
with
can't
him.
definitively say he's
I
a
know.
crazy person,
Yes.
but he's most likely just a crazy person.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah, so like I take this to be
Kind
like
of an inept crazy person too.
Yeah, no,
honestly.
I think he's having like a lot of fun here, and I really enjoy him in this movie. Some of the stuff that he's
I think he was
that he's
drunk.
putting on. I hope he was drunk. Yes.
I'd say that time came about 8 murders ago, wouldn't you? Now, I really don't have time for this petty game.
Like his delivery here is very unlike a lot of other stuff that I've seen him do. And I really like when he shows up to the police station and he's like signing the guest book without even looking at the guy.
Richards ain't here yet.
Fine. I have a great deal of work to do, and I'd like to get started immediately.
Yeah.
And then like the
he's not even signing on lines.
he's just doing his whole thing.
Yeah.
And then trying to like like. So he hits that guy. There's a whole scene here that we should probably talk about. Cause this kind of illustrates the whole thing.
Someone has desecrated the body.
There's like a sleeping guard in this shitty town, and he comes in like the big swinging dick. When he first arrives, he's just in the doorway, and all the cops are like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Speaking of funny, I think
Things are getting out of hand.
do you mind telling me who the fuck you are?
Right?
But one of them knows.
Well, yeah, because he's famous.
Yeah.
Oh, I came to our little town. What the fuck? But then he's going to the morgue because someone is dead, and he's got like a satchel. With like stakes to kill vampires or something like that. There's a scene earlier where he's naked, I think, or mostly naked.
Yeah,
and he's like praying, and
it's like a Die Hard 2 kind of scene, like where he's doing his like naked yoga and he flogs himself at some point.
Yes. Forgive me. Ah!
Yeah, it's like True Detective, where he's in this weird hotel room with like religious icons, and he's like asking for the strength to defeat the monsters and all that.
That they may wreak a terrible vengeance on thine enemies.
But at this point, you don't know if there's monsters or not. And he goes to like take care of this corpse, and at one point he like puts a cross on it and then goes, oh. Good. It's not a monster. And then it like jumps out. And the way the monster looks and the comedic
looks good.
Yeah, the comedic timing of that whole scene felt very like Sam Raimi to me. So
that's what's such a disappointment is that they don't do more of that. It's not like an actual thing of the movie. It could have been really cool if, like as I imagined it was going to be framed, is that maybe there is a serial killer and one that's an alien or something.
Yes.
And like it's this whole thing where like at the end it would be David Carradine and the human serial killer fighting against a fucking
something
a
larger
monster
than both of them.
that is not a serial killer. It's
Sure.
like taking your spinal fluid or something.
Yeah.
Something good. Something like exceptional, because it gives that these strong X-Files vibes that it doesn't have. But what it does have is it has David Carradine and Buck reunite. I guess actually they unite because this is before Kill Bill, right?
I want to chew your eyes out.
I want to rip your face off. Tear you apart.
Wait, what year was Kill Bill? Now I might be mistaken.
How old are we? When is Kill Bill?
I feel like Kill Bill was
might
in
be in the early
2000s.
2000s.
Yeah.
So this is probably the
So
prelude.
this is they met on this movie, and then later on he's like, "Hey Buck, do you drive a truck?" And then that's.
Do you like to do things?
My name is Buck, and I'm here to fuck.
I like that post office like postman song that plays whenever like the wife
they use
is
that
like
several
doing baby
times.
things. Yeah. Well, if you pay for a song,
do it.
Fucking use as many times
Do
as
it
you
up.
want. Yeah.
Everything's fine, 'cause daddy's a postman.
When he goes to his house, though, that's amazing. When he's like, I'm taking pictures of birds. I just like David Carradine has so much like manic energy, and he's so bad at everything.
Red-tailed hawk, known to the Indians as a spotted eagle, and I pulled over, but I lost him in the trees.
And the dude's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, and fucking
He
freaks
repeats,
out.
"What are you
and
doing
stuff.
here?" like 7 times.
It's amazing. Yes.
I said, "Can I help you?" No,
which just makes me wonder, like, what is it scripted as? Did you just get a lot of coverage? You're like, they walked over each other in these lines. I just gotta fucking use it all. All right, fine.
Yeah. I love him stumbling back and almost falling, getting back into the car.
Well,
and
because he
everything.
sees him as a demon.
Yes.
And I'm like,
but that's so like that's the whole point of that scene. He sees him and goes, oh god, and it's, and it's all his things. But then yes, you're not sure if that's in his head.
Well, because you originally think you're like, oh, okay, he was able to find out who the killer was because he saw him as a demon.
Good morning.
But then through like the exposition of the flash forward scenes, you're like, oh no, he just tracked that like all the people that died were on a postal route. It was this guy's postal route. Oh, that's the killer, like type of thing. And it paints how inept the police are. Like, we were gonna do that after we checked the cable repair guy.
Yeah. He has a point though. He has a point though. Anybody can open a mailbox.
Human heads were being found in people's mailboxes.
Anybody can open a fucking mailbox.
Sure. But you have to do something.
Crawled around that serial killer's head so long, some say he never entirely got out. Crazy fucking bastard.
The next interaction, though, between the two of them, or it's somewhere in there, right? Like out on the road, David Carradine has tracked him. This is where he's got the shotgun, the car explodes. There's a shot there that I love so much of David Carradine on top of the car.
Just jumping down.
Yeah, like black against the like magic hour sky and jumping down. I like these things because of how insane they are. I like how this has no business like being in this movie, or why are these things even happening, right? That's the level that I'm appreciating this on, yeah.
You gotta see, he was insane with the masturbation.
Yeah, Willie found his tallywhacker around the age of 8 and never let go. He was insane with that masturbation.
Well, Willie was, yes.
One thing I just don't understand is how he even has his reputation as this great monster hunter when he seems like such a bungling idiot.
I'll need to see files on these cases as soon as possible, and I will expect complete and full cooperation.
Like, does he just luck into catching all these criminals?
He's unorthodox.
He's certainly unorthodox.
He has a special way
of
dealing with
What do you think happens if you go and like start murdering random people when you're not on a case and you are an FBI agent? Do you just get away with it?
I don't know. Probably.
I guess.
That's the only way I could see it. I could see it going down.
Well, let's sprinkle some crack on him and get out of here.
Yeah, because he was like, he says something like, I strike at thee. He's like vengeful and doing. Yeah, like they drop a line of dialogue in there, like he solved this like other big case, and they say that he crawled around inside of that killer's head so long that he never found his way back out.
He sometimes worked in an unorthodox manner, but he produced results. He broke the White Hills case wide open.
Like now, like now he's fucked up, but like before he was not, right? But I like the idea of this, FBI agent with this reputation that precedes him. What is supposed to happen is that he solves the case and he talks circles around the cops. Maybe it's one guy with 6 guns.
What if it was just one guy with 6 guns?
Why don't you let me do the thinking, huh, genius?
And all this other shit. He's supposed to be that guy, but no, he's literally a crazy person, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. He assaults police officers at one point.
Maybe the guy was just resting his eyes. Maybe he was an idiot.
And frames the job he did on some assailant that he then gives a description of to them.
I'd like to give your men a description of the suspect. And maybe they can catch him.
And I'm like,
I hope they can catch him. And walks away.
Frame some other innocent guy.
He's getting things done.
You crazy bastard!
You mind telling me what the fuck happened?
So this movie has no rating at all on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure.
Because no one's seen it.
Of course.
It has a 5.3 on IMDb. And I think there was like a shocking number of people that have actually watched it, like 400 or something. I was like, how could that many people have seen this movie?
That's crazy, actually, yeah.
I would expect 14. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm high as a kite after seeing this movie. The old woman that it kept cutting back to, like the insane masturbation lady, she is so over the top.
Probably felt guilty.
And like every line, you could tell the writer was like, comedic gold.
And then I was laughing so hard I peed myself too.
And like I just felt like, I'm like, all right, maybe you have the wrong person doing this part, or maybe it's just not as funny as you think, because it doesn't land for me. Like I go, oh, that's cringy, but it doesn't play as we were aiming for this cringe.
At the dinner table, you just
You know what I mean?
I did not think any of that was funny, but I didn't think it was like trying to be and like missing. I thought it was just because they interview like a bunch of different people, and they all have a different over-the-top way of being. Like the gym teacher's over the top in his own way.
Billy, quit covering your titties and play ball!
And the I don't know what he's like, a store owner guy.
He opened his first bottle of Red Slacks right there at the counter. He even took a long pull off of it before he ever even paid for it.
Who's talking about the drink that they drink for some reason, where you're like, what's going on, right? No, I
cool
think
framing device in his shot where like he puts, what is it, like sliced soda or whatever it is.
The more apples you cram into the basket, the more rotten ones you're going to end up with.
Red something. I think he liked it because it was like blood, right? You think like that those are gonna like. This movie to me is like a documentary about a thing where like the documentary is not like, is like getting it wrong, and there's like more to it that no one will ever know, and this crazy thing unraveling, and I like that.
Idiots.
Yeah. I would have liked to have known it was going to be that going in.
I know. I think you have like expectations from.
Well, that box sets up the most ridiculous expectations, and I'm like, this is going to be great. This is some rare David Carradine movie I didn't see where he plays this fucking paranormal investigator. Dope.
No, yeah.
Lies.
I wish they wouldn't have lied so much.
Like from the visual representations of the box to the actual words, there is nothing but lies.
Yeah, like because the two serial killers thing, I think is awesome.
Hey, dropped your wallet.
Thanks.
Because if you watch this without having any expectations going in, there's points where, like, early on, you're like, well, that guy's obviously the killer. Because he's acting like a killer.
Yeah.
And you don't even know which one I'm talking about because they both do, but differently. And they're talking about one guy being killed, and it's a movie, being the killer, right? So I'm thinking like, oh, it was the other guy who was the killer, and this guy is the one that everyone thinks is the killer, and maybe there's demons or something happening going on, right?
Sure.
Because they say they find 12 things of aspirin or some painkiller thing in David Carradine's hotel room.
None whatsoever.
And then Willie, the guy everyone thinks is the killer, immediately pops at aspirin, I think it is, whatever.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Headache?
Out of the groceries. So I'm like, oh, is that a connection? And they like this weird red drink thing, like like we just said. So I'm like, is that a connection? Like, what's going on here or something?
The aliens need that to live,
right?
Like, it would have been a cool thing if you establish it as our atmosphere is different. The aspirin simulates something, or like something like anything.
Yeah.
I thought it also been fun if you made David Carradine Willie. So like all these interviews were about him.
Right.
I think that could have been cool.
Yeah, because there's like a reveal at some point where for a moment you think maybe it's just this younger guy, Glenn.
Is there anything else you know about some of the
Well, we're all very sad, of course.
Who's like the real killer? Because they're showing you interviews that take place months, years after the events that they're cutting back to. So there's a lot of ambiguity where you don't know exactly what is happening or who's who or like who they're talking about or who like really did stuff, right? So they do this awesome like staggered thing where like Glenn attacks Willie's wife.
Yes, I'm looking for William Dickinson. I found his driver's license.
Well, Willie's not home right now, but I'm his wife, so...
Right?
Yes.
And then I think before you even confirm that Willie's a killer, they ask someone, during the interviews, why do you think Willie killed his wife and unborn child? Right? When they've showed you all this scene of an abusive, I think, guy, dropping that to like care so much about this like kid, which I think is something that fucked up people do.
I know, baby.
Right?
Yeah.
But like his
you can see she lives in fear. She can't go and do things. She can't do this and that. Why don't you just paint trains?
I'm gonna get my trains up and running again. For the baby.
Like, I think they should play some of those scenes for people that like can't identify when people are creeps, because the movie's able to communicate without him ever touching her in like any bad way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That he's like an abusive asshole. Her like reactions are so good.
Paint or something?
No, but your mom
Like
called
yellow,
it,
maybe?
and she was thinking that maybe we would stop
Hey,
by this
Sally,
weekend,
where
but
did
I
you
was
go?
hoping
I'm just curious as all. Where did you go?
She like winces when he like says stuff and like his delivery.
She was
I think
a good
he's
actress.
really good. I think he's really good too.
He's in some things.
He was on Lost. I figured you would know him from.
I'm here, what?
Yeah, you could say that. I was just looking at his IMDb, but I don't. That guy looks really familiar.
There were
but I
some
don't
people on
really
Lost.
know him. What?
There were so many people on Lost.
Everyone was on Lost. Come on.
Honestly, after a while, you're like, wait a minute, hang on. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him. I didn't so much care for the other serial killer, but I did like when him and his sister were together. I thought
He was
they
a
had a good
weirdo.
rapport.
Yes.
They were weird, and that
Exactly.
worked.
Well, why don't the newspapers ever talk about anything good, like puppies or something?
People need a little blood to wash their bacon and eggs down.
Oh, you're gross.
I'm right.
I even liked when he is actually confronting the guy's wife. Like
Okay.
they're back and forth about art and bullshit. Then when he punches him in the face, the blood looked like shit, but it was a good back and forth. You didn't see it
The
coming.
timing of the punch was really good.
Yeah.
Do you know who the artist is?
Yeah, it's someone called the Reindeer Master.
No, I've never heard of it.
And then his whole thing when he crawls, he's very like limber and wiry and spry. The way he like crawls up to her with his knife and like the way he threatens her and he's so creepy about it. I thought that was great.
Careful now, honey. You're going to give yourself rug burns.
Because Willie captures David Carradine.
Yeah.
And you get to see how Willie is calm. He's like, I'm gonna take that thing out of your mouth. Don't scream, right? Even though he could very well kill him.
I like his not
right?
that it's gonna matter. A man's voice in the middle of the day at a motel. No one's gonna care. I like that line.
But Glenn has to say, I'll cut your fucking tongue out if you even try to make it
Sure.
right. Because he's young,
juxtaposition, yeah.
immature, like not used to this yet. I think he implies that's his first kill, which does not make sense.
You were gonna be my first. Who would have thought that you were you? That you were him?
But whatever, right?
Yeah.
But he's like the young thing. So there are these two serial killers. They're not at war. They just accidentally or maybe whatever intentionally kill each other's wives and then have to fight, girlfriend, whatever.
What are you doing to Mike?
My house.
I thought though, when there is the reveal, and maybe there was something before this that I didn't actually notice, when they eat, like when he realizes that, like, oh, I targeted a serial killer.
Yeah.
It seemed like there should have been something before that. Like they're.
He's like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, was he saying that sarcastically? Like.
What are the fucking odds something like this would happen? Huh? They gotta be fucking astronomical.
I actually.
yeah.
I would have liked, and like, I am targeting you because I think I can blah, blah, blah. If we can this, I can pawn this on you or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something, there's more there that wasn't developed. And it makes sense from a, first-time writer that you wouldn't get it on the first try.
Interesting. I think it's reaching for something, though. I like that thing. Like, this is vaguely Tarantino-ish, which I think is why. Some of the stuff is, like a few things.
I would
actually.
like to know if there
But
was a
like,
full quote, because when it just says one word, great.
That's what I was implying, where I was like...
And because I did not like the movie, it's something that makes me think yeah, it's great. A great piece of shit. And they just cut out...
That's why I asked, like, are there dots before and after? Did they, like, take it out of context?
I don't think they would even let you know. This movie, I feel like, wouldn't give a shit.
Just go...
Yeah.
Tarantino said he saw it. Great. Yeah.
That's all.
No, so like you don't so like there's a little bit of like timing and warping stuff because Willie calls home and then Glenn answers because he's just killed his wife.
Hello? Hello?
And I didn't realize that Willie didn't know. Like I thought maybe Willie was just killing Glenn's girlfriend to get revenge for the dead wife. But he doesn't even know the wife's dead yet.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not until Glenn, true psychopath, answers the phone and is like, no, I was just going for a run. Like, don't worry about it. I have my mom on long distance, though, so I'm going to have to call you back.
No, I just got back from a little run. Oh, we're doing just fine. No, I don't know where Marie is, actually.
Click, and then, like, let's go back to fighting. But Willie hears him go, hello? Like the exact same way.
Yeah.
And he goes, wait a minute. And then he starts freaking out, like, why were you at my house? Why were you at my house? All that stuff. I like that Willie's like it's kind of like Kung Fu, ironically enough with David Carradine. Because Willie's like the tiger, upper body, punches, flat, like whatever. Willie's like angles and wiriness. He like does a thing to his throat all weird. Palm strikes.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
There's a character that says, and I believe this is a very close quote, not direct. He stepped on my fucking eyeball and I saw the soul come down on my eye. Because this character has an eye patch and his eye, I guess, was out of his head enough that it could be on the ground and he could see with that eye the shoe coming down on him.
I watched the sole of his shoe come down on top of me with that eyeball. Fuck!
Like that just made me go like, I wasn't like, I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I maybe just go like, wait, what?
I heard my back go pop. Fuck! The next thing I remember was being on my knees.
No, I'm not sure what that was. There's a few of those, right?
Yeah, there's a tuna surprise
bit.
bit.
Where it's like crazy interview. Well, that's crazy interview footage where you're like, well, I can't stop this crippled man from like telling his story, but this story does not make sense. And then tuna surprise, the other brother that they're telling stories about,
Yeah,
I didn't know you could kill a man with a frying pan, but he was dead.
Oh, I'd know.
Well, have some, bonk, that whole thing, yeah.
No thanks, Eddie.
Oh, have a bite! Oh, and some for you!
Sunflower seeds, you name it. He had everything up his ass.
Up his ass.
Erasers, sunflower seeds, you name it. It's been up Eddie's ass.
And the little coroner's report listing of what's in his ass, right? You get the listing of what's in David Carradine's hotel room. You get the listing of what's up that other guy's ass.
Hey.
Bookends. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
You got to do it.
I was assuming that you were going to call out the line from the, from the cop who's like, I love buffets.
I love buffets.
Detective, you've been at this a long time. Any thoughts on what motivates a serial killer to kill so often and so violently?
The cop had a line where it was something like why the hell would I care what's happening somewhere else or to other
Ain't
people?
happening to me.
Ain't happening to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good way of looking at certain things.
Not if you're a cop.
What the fuck do I care what happens as long as it don't happen to me? It's just not natural to care too much about other people.
No, of course not.
So it's a great line for him to say to his boys.
Yeah.
Like, because there's actually several characters. There's like a running theme of like ignorance or something like that. I don't mean to be snobby about it, but I'm trying to find like a catch-all term because Willie does not let his wife watch TV.
You read that in the newspaper, huh? You sure you just didn't see it on the TV, Sally?
Willie, I read it in the newspaper.
Oh. What's a heat?
Yeah.
The cops talk to each other like, don't read the paper. It's filling your head with ideas.
Was it a full moon?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You guys have got to stop reading the goddamn newspapers. It's filling your head with bullshit.
Well, I don't read the paper either. No, I don't even watch TV. I'm getting close to doing this.
That's the Southern mentality.
Of just shut everything out and don't do everything. Yeah.
They adopted that from the early Chinese.
But he's bad at his job. Because someone's like, so why do you think, how do you think serial killers pick their victims? And he goes, one potato, two potato, like fuck, like he has he's the opposite of the FBI profiler in a way that the cop in the movie is usually not. But David Carradine is also not the way David Carradine, the FBI Twin Peaks character would be in a movie.
Twin Peaks character is a good description of this. That's kind of what he is, except so much more just competent in every way.
Oh, not again. Swacky Mollyballs. Swacky Mollyballs. Evil to him who thinks evil.
Like, one of my biggest notes is just David Carradine is dead. Like, that alone is, kind of a shocker that it didn't, if it was going to happen, based on all the lies I've already seen, you'd think it would happen in the first minute or two. Like, you'd think he'd come in and just die.
Like it's a big lie.
Yeah.
Like he's just going to die.
Yeah, have him as big as possible on the cover and then barely in the movie.
Right. Yeah, but he dies midway, 2/3 in?
Two-thirds, I'd say, yeah. He justifies his place on the front, and having him die is a twist. So putting him as big on the front, that actually is the only smart thing this cover does. And I'll say smart in quotes. It tricked me into watching. I guess it did a lot of smart things, but those are underhanded things, while I don't think the large David Carradine is one of those items.
Right. His death is like part of the plot. It isn't some either way twist or fake out at something. Yeah.
Like a lot of what our killer does, though, you're like, how did you ever plan on getting away with these tasks? Because you don't really care if you're seen. There's blood everywhere.
Which
you
killer?
have blood.
I think we're gonna need some more towels in room 22, sweetie.
Honestly, both.
Yeah. No, I think part of it is how bad the cops are and how much it's
that's
made out
definitely
to be
a big part of it.
Yeah.
Did they say what year it's supposed to take place?
Ooh, I don't know. There's not a cell phone in sight, right? And
no, and they have a couple things that are like, I'm like, oh, that's pretty old.
There's a cordless phone because there's one. Oh, this is another like good, well done scene where the camera's like sliding back and forth while the while Glenn's girlfriend is taking phone calls, doing stuff with the dog, pouring a glass or something like that. I was trying to look in that scene. Is something changing in the background to hint that Willie's there because like a door would open or close? But I didn't spot anything. But the minute the scene started, I'm like, you busted out the dolly rig thing for this. This is obviously I need to be eagle-eyed and catch something, but I didn't catch anything. But she has a cordless ass phone.
Surprise for my birthday. Glenn, he can't hide anything. Whatever he's thinking, it's right there in his dorky little face. Yeah, right. Yeah, remember that time when him and Steven...
Like it is like Zach Morris, like a big doot, like a cordless, and she's slapping like an answering machine or something. So
yeah, so it's dated, but it was never clear as to what. Because even when it's flashing forward, I'm like, well, this footage is so shitty. This is still back in the day, like.
Yeah, and like the documentary maker or like the journalist, like you never even see him. You just hear his voice. You don't know why the footage is being gathered or like what's going on. It's very whatever. Yeah.
You tried to question Willie's younger brother, Eddie. What went wrong?
Mistake? Plot point? Who's to say?
I don't know. Yeah, I think like I end up liking it because I like only seeing this slice of everything. But yeah, if you're like gonna demand that all those things be in the movie, you're gonna be like, oh, it's missing. What the fuck, right? So I totally understand. Yeah.
So, I can't express how displeased I was with the whole experience.
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite of what you're portrayed as, so it makes it even slower than it already is, because it's kind of like a slow burn movie. It's not really a horror. That's a lie.
I'm pregnant.
I guess you could get away with saying a thriller, but it's really not a thriller, and it's certainly not a comedy. It's just a waste of time.
I think it's like a dark cringe comedy. I would say that it's worth watching, but not if you've read the box or not if you go into it with anything.
Yeah.
To me, it registered as being like unique or different enough that I got something out of it. But it's not something I'm gonna keep in my stable of favorites or recommend or like whatever. It's just like a thing that I'm happy I saw.
For me, it might be the worst movie we've ever reviewed.
The worst of the worst.
Yes.
Like Hanger, I might think is better because at least that has some redeeming qualities.
I'm happy that we could disagree in such a civil fashion.
Oh, it was when I say a chore, So the movie's like an hour and a half or something. I feel like any excuse I was like, oh, gotta pee. Oh, hang on. All right, I started up. I should make a sandwich.
Did you like come back and watch 5 minutes and then pause it for like another hour and keep doing that? Or
This hour and a half movie probably took me
3 days.
Like
3 days.
I'll probably say like 3 hours to watch.
Okay, I was gonna.
Yeah.
I'm joking and making it into like this super long time.
Like it was anything. Oh, you want me to rake the leaves? Let me get the hell out of here. Hang on.
I gotta fix that shelf. It's not level. Hold on.
Oh, I gotta jack up the foundation on this bitch. Nah, yeah. So like I can't recommend it. Usually I'll say like, oh, for this, that, other thing. Like, but all those things you could just see on the box and like that's it. Like I like the creature effect. I think that's cool. The fact that that's their interpretation of a vampire is interesting. I would have liked more insight on that, because it's weird to say, because it's like if you say he's seeing the evil from within them, that's not really what it is, because he's killing them with a wooden stake. So like they're clearly a vampire. It would be cool if Greys were vampires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I like the idea of mixing some roots and some stuff. Like that's fun, but it didn't do it enough to really wrap it up. Like you could take things from this and make, I think, a really powerful horror movie.
I think certainly like the movie that's being advertised is not the movie that it is.
No, not at all.
And you would much rather watch the movie that's being like sold to you or something. Yeah. But even though I liked aspects of it and stuff, I understand why this is a like forgotten thing that no one's heard of.
Yeah.
Like that makes total sense.
I wonder if if you can even try to approach the live like, oh, he's a paranormal FBI and whatever, like he is a paranormal because he is not normal.
Oh no, he's not normal. Yeah, no, the box is almost like the movie you wish that it would have been if you'd seen it.
I was picturing another Bloody Mallory movie. Like that's what walking into this, I was like, oh, I might actually get something like that based on the covers. Like it's not too dissimilar from a movie that I love, and that might be why I'm a little harsher on this movie. But honestly, even if I think subjectively, I am so surprised you like this movie. I shouldn't be, because whenever I hate something, you love it. So I almost think you were like tapping my phone or something. You're like, did he hate it? Let me say I loved it.
It's like,
are you fucking with my head right now?
It's a coin flip usually, but I've gotten pretty good at guessing if you're gonna like it. No, I'm shocked that you hate it so much. Honestly, like for me, I saw that like grainy like footage of a thing, and I'm like, oh no, is this a found footage movie?
You want to see my Prince Albert? Can we get a wide shot?
And then it turned out to be so much more than that I liked it, from that angle.
Yeah, it could have been worse. I'll definitely say that.
It brings something to the table.
It's just like so surprising, and I said it already, that like some of the actors that are in this, I'm like, I can't imagine how you got these people for this movie.
You know why.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Don't lie.
I guess, in the moment you don't know what you're making.
No one ever knows from the script or from the set.
Yeah.
I think that there's a story behind this, to your point earlier.
I tried to find, I was looking, I couldn't find anything on this movie.
Whether or not the story is publicly available, but yeah, like the director I think was a storyboard artist, or he like became.
There were a lot of credits on a lot of people except for the writers doing other things.
Exactly.
And even the director, he did like an episode of Supernatural, and I think he has a movie in the works now, but currently he's only done one.
But like generally speaking, this movie's 20 years old, and the director doesn't seem like a director. It seems like he's done other stuff in the movie industry for like real movies.
Yeah.
So there's some weird there's something in there. There's something going on.
Yeah.
Which I'd be very interested to hear about.
I'll be glad to just forget this movie ever happened.
Non-stop. Book solid through May. Okay, folks, we're walking now. We're walking.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
It's open.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinions.